In 1978, John Carpenter made a low-budget horror movie that unexpectedly birthed an entire franchise. Halloween followed a creepy white-faced lunatic as he stalked, then slashed a group of wholesome babysitters. Over 40 years later, and the movies are still going strong, so get yourselves comfy everyone, and let's take a look back at 10 scary moments from the Halloween movies. Number 10. Halloween H2O, The Public Toilets from Hell. Halloween H2O, 20 years later, was released in 1998, and it brought back original Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis. This sequel did very well at the box office, but it did get a very broad range of mixed reviews. Some people loved it and some people hated it. It had its fair share of creepy, intense moments, but the moment that made this list is a scene where a mother and her young daughter are desperate for the toilet in the middle of nowhere. They find some public toilets, but unfortunately the ladies' toilets are locked. They end up using the men's toilets thinking that nobody is around. The tension soon rises when the door slams while they're both on the toilet, and then Michael Myers picks up the lady's bag from the front of the cubicle and walking out with her car keys. The mother tries to take a look through the gap in the door, and Michael then looks back right at her in the mirror reflection. He terrifies the woman just by staring at her, but then leaves and steals the car. It's a very intense scene that has you on the edge of your seat. Number 9. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, Dr. Loomis's terrifying screams. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. It was released in 1995 and directed by Joe Chappelle. The film is set 6 years after the ending of Halloween 5, which sees Michael stalk and kill the last of the Strode family. The movie at the time got a lot of criticism on its release, but it has since spawned a huge cult following. One of the scariest moments in this movie is the ending. Now there are two endings to this film, but the one that we are going to be talking about is the version that came out on home video release. Tommy Doyle is back in this movie, and he ends up beating Michael to death in a final showdown scene at Smith's Grove. When Tommy and the others get back into the car and drive off, Dr. Loomis stays at Smith's Grove, which then cuts to a scene where we see Michael Myers' mask on the floor, followed by some horrifying screams coming from Dr. Loomis. The tragic thing about this movie is that Donald Pleasance, who played Dr. Loomis, died nearly 8 months before the film was released, and the movie was dedicated to his memory. Number 8. Halloween, Ghost Michael. The original movie now, where it all began. Halloween was released in 1978 and of course was directed and scored by the one and only legend John Carpenter. Now there's going to be many more scary moments from this original classic on this list, but at number 8 we are talking about the famous scene where Michael turns up outside Linda's bedroom dressed as a ghost. Linda thinks that it's her boyfriend dressed as the ghost messing around and tries to get a laugh out of him, but with no luck. Linda then decides to phone Laurie and turns her back on Michael, and then Michael starts to walk towards Linda very slowly. Michael then wraps the telephone cord around Linda's neck and kills her. It's a fantastic scene, and the famous tense music in the background adds to it immensely. Number 7. Halloween 2, Hospital Chase. The first sequel to Halloween was released in 1981, and the movie had a lot to live up to. The movie takes place on the same night as the previous film, and following on what happened next. At the end of the first movie, Michael is shot by Dr. Loomis off a balcony, but then disappears. We then watch Michael continue his murderous rampage through Haddonfield. Now a lot of this movie is featured at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, where Laurie Strode is being looked after. Michael soon tracks down Laurie and goes on the hunt through the hospital. Things start getting very tense when Laurie is running away from Michael and ends up in a lift. Laurie starts to press the button to make the doors of the the lift closed before Michael gets to her, and at one point it looks like that Laurie isn't going to make it. After a very long tense scene of Michael getting closer to this lift, the doors finally close just as Michael is putting his knife through the door. It's a fantastic scene and it gives you a horrible feeling of dread. Number 6, Halloween, the washing line. We are back to our original classic, and Laurie Strode has been walking home with her friends from school, but not without a little few scares. First, Michael passes them in a car, and when Annie shouts out, "Hey jerk, speed kills," he slams on the brakes for a few seconds but then drives off. Later on, Laurie sees Michael standing at the base of a hedge in the distance before he then disappears, but the scariest scene comes a little bit later on when Laurie gets home. She stands out her bedroom window and sees Michael standing in between a washing line of white linen looking up at her to the bedroom window. The camera pans away for literally a second before panning back to the washing line and Michael Myers has disappeared, totally freaking out Laurie. It's a very creepy scene, especially with Michael's white mask blending in with the white washing. Number 5, Halloween 5, Jamie Lloyd used as bait. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers was released in 1989 and received a lot of negative reviews upon its release. Despite this, the movie still had a lot of fans who loved this chapter of the series. This movie brings back character Jamie Lloyd, who Michael Myers continues to hunt down and kill. The movie gets off to a slow start, and despite the negative reviews, there is a very tense few moments in this movie when Dr. Loomis uses Jamie as bait to catch Michael back at the Myers house. Things get unbearably tense when Jamie hides in a lift shaft, but of course Michael finds her and Jamie tries to climb back up the lift shaft, with Michael lunging his knife at Jamie. It's an unbearably terrifying scene that fills you with dread the whole time. Number 4, Halloween, Laurie discovers the bodies. Back to our original Scream Queen now, and this is the moment Laurie walks over to Annie's house to find out what the hell is going on. It's a very long, intense scene that Laurie doesn't see coming, but when Laurie finally gets to Annie's house, she wanders upstairs to see if anyone is home. She gets to one of the bedrooms and comes across Annie's dead body sprawled out across the bed, with the stolen headstone of Judith Myers above her. Bob's dead body then swings from above the doorway with a huge jump scare, and then the cupboard door opens revealing Linda's dead body, sending Laurie into a complete freak out. It's an amazing scene which scares the audiences every time. Number 3, Halloween 4, Jamie's Nightmare. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers was released in 1988, and it's the movie that introduced us to character Jamie Lloyd for the first time. Like Halloween 5, the movie did receive negative reviews upon its release, but has since got a massive cult following from fans. One of the scariest scenes in the movie takes place early on, when Jamie is having trouble sleeping in the middle of the night. Jamie has a little look through some old photos and then says some prayers before going back to bed. Unknown to Jamie, Michael Myers is in the bedroom with her, as we see his white face in the mirror when the lightning strikes. Her cupboard door opens slowly, and as she walks over to close it, Michael grabs Jamie's legs from under the bed. She manages to get away, but the bedroom door is all of a sudden locked. Michael sits up from the floor with the lightning strike showing off Michael's scary white mask again. The bedroom door then opens and Michael is there with a knife. Luckily for Jamie, this was just a nightmare, but really it's actually just a warm-up for the main event. Number 2, Halloween, Laurie's chase scene. Following on now from when Laurie discovered her friend's dead bodies, there is an incredible chase scene between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. After Michael slices Laurie in the arm, causing her to fall down the stairs, Michael starts to chase Laurie all through Annie's house. Laurie manages to smash her way out the kitchen window, but only just. What then follows is an injured Laurie limping and running through the streets, with Michael hot on her tail. Laurie is screaming for help, but none of the neighbours come out to help her. Laurie runs back to her own house, but realises that she's lost her keys somewhere along the way. She realises that Michael is on his way, and she bangs on the door screaming for help. She eventually wakes up Tommy Doyle, who makes his way down the stairs to let Laurie in. It's a nail-biting classic scene, which doesn't get any less scary every time you watch it. Before we get to number 1, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We currently upload 2 new videos every week, so make sure to hit that notification bell as well. Number 1, Halloween, the closet scene. Sticking with the original classic now and following on from Laurie's chase scene, Laurie wakes up Tommy and Lindsay after her ordeal and tell them both what's just happened. Laurie seems to think that she has killed Michael, but then Michael appears at the top of the stairs, causing Tommy and Lindsay to scream. Laurie tells them both to lock themselves in their bedroom, while Laurie runs and hides in a closet in the other room. She does open up the balcony door just before she hides, hoping that this will distract Michael, making him think that she's escaped. However, things take a terrifying turn, and Michael knows exactly where Laurie is hiding. Michael starts banging on the closet, and Laurie starts to understandably freak out. He then punches his way through the closet and causing the light to flicker on and off. The whole time you can hear Michael's creepy heavy breathing. Laurie then manages to grab a coat hanger and stab Michael. What makes this scene so scary is the claustrophobia feel to it and the feeling of helplessness, but of course you can't kill the boogeyman. And that was 10 scary moments from the Halloween movies. Thank you all for watching, we will see you again very soon.